All right, live with AJ from Reading, England. AJ has done some incredible artwork and is also passionate about his training and he's joined the Uncommon Success Network. Some of his art is outstanding. So the discussion today is around creativity, where that blends with health, performance. How did you get started with these areas? What's your story in relation to the?
Well, I guess I've always been creative from when I was very young. I've always spent a lot of time drawing, a lot of time creating. And yeah, I mean, I just from that, I ended up doing art at school. I actually did art at GC A level and then went on to do product design at uni. I moved away from when I went to university, I wanted to design for a purpose. That's what was in my head anyway. I was designing towards a goal. Where sometimes, just that artistic freedom and expression is also a good thing just to work towards that kind of outlet. Yeah, and then kind of carrying on along with all of that, alongside the fitness and the health is something that's important to me, but juggling the two sometimes can be tricky.
Yep. So we're sort of looking to open the discussion, or this just started with a bit of a discussion around doing something with NFTs and graphics, the visual representation of the progression that men have within Uncommon Success, like the artistic representation of you've really changed as a man, as a person by doing these things. Like now you have these new abilities, new skills, new strength, new speed, maybe new business, maybe new chest ability, and to be able to represent that in a graphical form, I think it would add to the reward. Like there's something inherently valuable about images, and we think in images, we see in images, and a picture says 1,000 words, all these sorts of things. Like to be able to have a graphic that represents someone's progression is something that really interests me, and I can see that you've got the artistic ability to kind of pull that off. But what do you see, like now that you've come into this game, as a player for yourself, to level up in business, level up in life, improve your training, have that accountability? Like what would you see? How could that look?
So it's as I kind of touched on before, we can have like an actual avatar change. Like it's hard to say exactly. It depends what the applications for this are too. Yeah. But I really like the idea of having, for one, kind of low hanging fruit is having like the badges that get a good accomplishment or a particular skill. You have a badge that you unlock, similar to how you have those achievements on, I don't know, like, you've got PS4 or PS5, whatever they are, those unlock. But in terms for like an avatar, like you said, I think it's quite cool and having like the skin almost, again, on these games, gamifying this concept. But some of it would have to correlate with what exactly constitutes a leveling up within the Uncom system, within the Uncom app. And I remember you saying leveraging it with AI could be interesting, which I think is a really good idea. You have this base image, and as the guys are progressing, you're using that, you're leveling up the graphic, you're improving them as they go on.
Did you get into the NFTs at all in the last crypto bull run? And
I didn't. I was very much in that space. A lot of people I was working with at the time, we had a lot of discussions around it and like the value of them. But I guess the issue is with them is it almost needs to be tied with something tangible.
Yeah,
I think it just does like the artwork, like the bathing ape, the yacht club, the Bored Ape Yacht Club, I think they were. The music, that kind of cool. The artwork's kind of cool, but what are they tied down to? Like, what is giving them their kind of inherent value? And I think that's what we have here, the basis of creating something a little bit more, because we have the possibility to create these avatars that are linked with actual real life progression, real life tangible skills, rather than just arbitrary. These pictures look cool.
Yeah, I think they did. Bored Ape Yacht Club is probably an example where it did really have function. But I mean, we already have a network and community and some value and things that it would be enhancing what we already have, rather than trying to create value from the art as the initial point. But
yeah,
with a yacht club, like initially, I don't know how they generated the hype and how they got them to that point, but once high level people were buying them, then it became a thing where it is like a status play and an entry into having a conversation with other people who've got those same things, and they built a physical location in Miami, I think, and they had other plans for like where they're going with it. They try to build a game and stuff as well, which I think
That's all the game.
they had the resources and they did some stuff. But yeah, like I guess the iterative, like it would be cool, and maybe it's something you can do some more research on. Other guys here might have experience with, but like the idea of the generative art and how to do that kind of sequentially, that you just plug in the next trait and it goes on to the kind of thing. Like there's a systemized way that was it may have existed for a long time, but I wasn't really aware of it until NFTs came about. The one in Theta that was the big one, like the equivalent of the Bored Ape Yacht Club in Theta, was the Secret Pineapple Society, and the artist for that is works for Warner Brothers, and like he's a professional, graphic specialist, and he's worked with big projects, and like the quality of the art within that, like it's simple, but it's really, really good, really sharp. And there's I do think for us that the fact of like earning it, if you have to really earn it, if you have to actually get your back somersault, and then it adds like a little a badge or a little flick over something over the ear, or I don't know, like just subtle little things, but that when and you can see, look at the image and you can see, okay, yeah, this guy's strong, and this guy's got his these skills, like, okay, I can see he's a 5-ball juggler, okay, I can see he's got a 5-figure a month business, or all those things could be within the image, and you could have something that's personal to them from the start, like with the Lensa technologies, like the way the AI image and stuff are now. Plug in a photo, but then make it more abstract so you can't exactly maybe see who it is, or I don't know, there's a lot of possibilities with it. But straight up the badges thing, I think, is really cool. We've been speaking about like the doing badges for a year or so, but the art to go with it, and being able to see within the app, when you look at the player's profile, you click somewhere and it's badges, and they're like these really cool images. I think that would also add a lot. And then it's a bit more tech or a bit more development to be able to have that iterative avatar. Curious to other guys on the call as well, if you got any thoughts coming up on this as we discuss. Our guys are jumping in and out. I saw Sebastian a minute ago. Lane works in graphics and visual, like video marketing and video logos kind of thing, graphic animated logos, that kind of stuff. Mason's got his AI generated image there as his profile on Zoom too. I'm not sure what your experience is with this, Jan, as well, but you're welcome. Yeah, you can use the hand up thing, or type in the chat box if you want to jump in. Then we'll know you want to share something. But man, like how do these things intersect for you? Thinking about artistic ability and the physicality. Like you said, it's sort of sometimes a bit of a challenge. Like, do you feel like it's almost contrary, that the world of art tends to be more late night and substance abuse and stuff, or substance usage for creativity? What's your experience?
I've always found it to be quite complementary in a lot of aspects. However, when you had a hard day training, sometimes that mental capacity to sit down there for another couple of hours and study during sketch studies or portraiture or whatever it is, sometimes that can have an effect. But I think it's a really good combination. I know for me, it's two things that throughout anything that goes on, these two things can keep me quite rooted. I can practice this certain skill here, continuous development, and seeing the continuous development in one side as well as the physical side. And you've got this, what's really nice, you have this documentation, whether it's physical or like drawing on the paper, whether it's on digital or if you're on the computer, and then you've got your body as well. And you can see the reflection of different sides of you, which is what I quite like. But I think we touched on the late nights. So I guess that's the main thing with the artwork and stuff, is sometimes it can keep you up very late. But again, I think that's good in terms, if you can get the right balance, and finding that is something I'm still trying to do all the time. I think they work, like I said, I think they work well together. I think it's a good combination of skills as a good foundation to keep building from. There's this story that I read when I was younger about either Chiron or Chiron. He's a mentor. He mentored the Greek heroes like Achilles, Hercules, another guy, and he kind of taught them this concept of, you've got to be a strong, physical, capable man, as well as, knowing the arts or knowing how to forage, or I don't know, but it was those duality of man and whatever, combining those different things. And I think that's a nice thing that I've held on to when I heard that story.
Yeah, I love it. I guess for us, it's like a four level man of having the strong network, the athletic ability, the financial success, and the intelligence. What would you suggest for people who want to go further with the drawing? Like what's been useful for you? Have you ever thought about compiling like a history of your journey and what helped you and stuff?
Yeah, I kind of have, but a lot with me, I'm still kind of young. I'm like, do I still have that story to tell? Have I gained enough experience to be like, oh, this is what you guys need to do? But when people need to start being creative, I'd say this you got to do it every day. You got to allocate a little bit every day. I remember when I was young, the first thing I used to do was get up and obviously brush my teeth and whatever, and then spend half an hour drawing before school. And that's, again, like I said, that before I really got into health and fitness and training and whatnot, that's what kind of rooted my day. I started off my day on a positive, and also be like persevering, because it is a same way with, you go to the gym, you're not going to be able to always lift the heaviest weights or hit PBs. It's the same thing, when you're drawing, sometimes stuff isn't looking great on the page. It's that kind of perseverance, working at it. Like anything, it's a skill. You've got to put the time in, otherwise you're not going to get any time out. You're not going to get the benefits out of it. And yeah, starting off small. Don't jump into the deep end, try and draw these crazy perspectives or crazy anything complex. Breaking stuff down, slowly.
Yeah. You don't have to put yourself out there as like the number one in the world or anything to be able to give some tips to other guys who maybe like it. Someone in Oncom likes their drawing, like I recommend you. Like, are you happy for him to reach out, book a call, have a conversation? Yeah,
of course, man. Of course, that'd be great.
Epic. So, tell us about it as a business, because the starving artist is the other cliche, right? I don't know what the reality is for you, but like where do you see it as a business? Where do you want to go with it as a business?
Yeah, it's so there's kind of two sides to the stuff that I've currently been doing. I worked at a creative studio for 2 years, and I'm currently I'm not working at the moment in an official capacity. I do some freelance stuff here and now, but it's a trope that I'm definitely I don't want it to develop into me, the starving artist. It's an easy one to fall into. I think it's tricky sometimes finding your market especially in a sea. When you see on Instagram, you see crazy artists, they're really great, they're highly skilled, and kind of, are you as good as them? I think as an artist, you do have a lot of I wouldn't say call it self-doubt. It's a lot of analyzing and introspection in how good you are compared to the rest of the field. But sorry, what was the original question again? I've gone off a little bit of a tangent.
Yeah, where you want to go business-wise, like can be tricky to make money. Or at least the stereotype is that difficult to make money.
I think.
What jobs have you had?
Sorry, say that again.
What sort of freelancing jobs have you had recently?
So I've done some stuff with a couple companies, it's like a, how do I describe it? Like a loot box company who were kind of a part of a game. I've done some stuff with Red Hat and AWS. Red Hat's a IT company, and obviously AWS, Amazon Web Services. They're the biggest ones. I've done some private portraiture work too, and I think that's where, for me, I need to define what my offering is a little bit better. And I think that's the issue with sometimes with art, with where I'm at anyway, where I've got a couple of different skill sets. I want to kind of define what I really enjoy doing, what I want to do, and carry that forward as a business. That's where I'm at the moment. And that's the stuff that I've kind of joined Uncom for as well, to get that bit of clarity, get a bit of accountability in terms of setting that all up. Currently building a website where there'll be some portraiture commissions, as well as some of the digital based artwork and stuff. And also alongside the business, keep learning. That's what's great about artwork as well. You know, all the skills you can constantly pick up.
Yep. So if people within, you know, if players in Uncom wanted to know what you can do, what you could offer their business, like what is it that, say, you know, Tyson Venables has a meditation business, it's doing well in Australia. He's running workshops and stuff around that, or I don't know, is there a specific type of business, or, you know, where could your work plug in to enhance someone else's business?
I mean, right now it's I can do from the branding, a little bit of the marketing in terms of the paid advertisements on organic advertisements. I've done all that sort of stuff before, as well as bespoke illustrations. Like the portraiture side is a bit more niche, obviously, but the other side of it, yeah, it can play into the logo design. I know I spoke to Lane before as well, and he does some of that stuff as well. Just that I think that initial creative side, and also the idea side of it. I enjoy like the kind of concept stage of these things, and figuring out what it is people need to take the direction, because often when people come to me, they have this idea that they want, they think they want almost actually, but when you kind of strip it down, you need to make these kind of small changes and just redefine what they actually. People come with you with very grand ideas sometimes, essentially, and same thing working at a creative agency, and it's actually boiling down what they actually want. And I think that's what I've kind of got much better at, being at a studio and through the freelance stuff, understanding what people actually want when they come to me, rather than because they don't always know the jargon, the language, and that sort of stuff, and the terminology when we're talking about some of these campaigns that they want to run, or they want a logo designed, and whatever.
Yeah. So one approach with business now is like to give the knowledge stuff away and then have them pay for the experience, you know? So you could make a cheat sheet of how not to mess up getting a logo, and like 7 out of 10 people go and use that advice and find someone on Fiverr and they get a logo for $50. But maybe 3 out of 10 be like, okay, I'm going to work with AJ on this because it seems like it makes sense. And you know, they start to build confidence and rapport with you because you're giving them some knowledge. I would say for myself, like, it would more just be a lack of, like, I wouldn't know what to come to you for. You know, I would want to see like a menu of these are things that I could do. And if I can see your portfolio and stuff, and that makes me think a bit, but I don't really see exactly, you know, what the low hanging fruit would be to plug this into the business. If you were to say, look, it's going to be this many pounds, and I'm going to do this for you, and you know, this is what we can expect as the outcome. Like, I think that style of work, it can be difficult to know exactly. One thing that I saw work, you know, and I'll see if I can connect you, but we had a Polish man, Marcin, like Martin. He was in our network for a couple of years, and he really got into he did the Elite Money Club stuff when we had the program with Paul. And he's a graphic designer from Poland. He's worked with a lot of computer games, and he does beautiful art. And he was trying to figure out where the market fit is with that. And he made a nice image that was to go on T-shirts with ATG, Knees Over Toes guy. I'm sure you've seen. Yeah. The image that Ben had on his profile for the last 2-3 years, he just changed it recently. He's got a new photo with a white background. But the one with the blue, which he still used on Telegram, that was from Marcin. You know, he made it for like a T-shirt design or something, and that was the front of Ben's brand for a long time, and sort of still is. So maybe, you know, that could be something as well, of like, hey, do you like? I see you got this photo as your profile picture, but like, what if I made something for you that told the story of your brand a bit better? And I had Marcin make one for me. He worked for me for a couple of months, maybe 3 or 4 months. He made one for me around juggling, like a juggling kind of image, and it was okay. I used it a bit, but maybe, I don't know, I didn't love it as much, but I don't know, like that seems like potentially a simple use. It seems as though what's coming up is also like the AI, like plugging in. Let me give you some base layer stuff and help you with prompts so that you can use AI to be able to have beautiful images ongoing. Like, you give them the starting point and some basic tips. But if you were going to help someone to be able to plug images into their brand ongoing, then that's, you know, that could be a $500 or $1,000 course. That's,
Okay.
or
Yeah, yeah.
3,000, whatever. Depends how much, yeah, if the outcomes are like your whole product is going to be more professionally branded and it's going to look like you've got custom art, all across it,
Yeah.
then it's a good investment for a business if it's going to really sharpen up the image of the brand. And then once you've done a few, then you can take it to another brand and say, look, like this is what their website looked like before, this is what their Instagram looked like before,
Mhm.
and what it looks like now.
Definitely with me though, it is, I'm at that stage where it is kind of identifying and condensing down that offering. And maybe that is, I need to also not be so diverse. Like I've started doing some frame by frame animation. Maybe it isn't for now. It is kind of cut back from that, focus on what I can do. Sorry,
Not really familiar with that world. Like, what is it you say?
frame by frame animation. So like every 24 seconds, there's the drawing per frame per second, all that sort of stuff. So
Yeah.
very labor intensive, very time intensive. I think it's a pretty cool skill, but in terms of leveraging it, especially as a single person, not a studio, can be more difficult than offering like a graphic design course, for example. And
Have you been looking at the AI? It seems as though putting in the first image and putting in the last image,
yeah,
they be able to start, or like you put in every fourth image or something. That must be getting close with some of that, is it?
there's some. So I played around with one video. I did a lot more prompts with Midjourney for about 3 months ago.
Yeah.
I haven't really touched it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen some stuff on Instagram which is really cool, like the quotes, and then they'll have the AI generated like animations that going throughout behind that sort of stuff. I think that's probably pretty good content as well. Pretty good for a lot of people. I think whatever I do, using AI to my advantage is going to be pretty key over the next coming years.
Yeah. I think like it's in some ways it's a threat to some people in your industry, but you may as well embrace it and use the best of it. And there's always going to be a place for the best. But I think a lot of the bottom end animators or artists, probably going to get some pressure from, from the AI. But it's just like computers and stuff that made bookkeeping on books not as valuable, but you move to same thing. It's still going to be things to do, but what was I thinking? There was someone else there that was coming up of like who you should. I was thinking about someone else to connect with. It's gone now.
Okay.
So ideally, you want to work for yourself, and would you rather work for a few bigger brands or one bigger brand, or would you rather have like a lot of clients buying semi-automated stuff and like a big group?
I think there's an opportunity to kind of have both. The art program, you can have kind of this
Definitely not do, but they take business skill and focus. They can one better first, and then maybe bring in the other one.
Yeah. I think
it's like finding 3 to 5 on one client that really cares about the work that you do is easier than finding 100.
And I think the variation would be, to be fair, when it's 3 to 5 people, corporations or companies with enough work, that's going to keep plenty busy anyway. I think the only thing I'd want to say is you do want to retain. Where I worked at the creative agency, it's similar to that. You're kind of this middleman, and you end up getting a lot of projects that kind of maybe you're not as passionate for.
Yeah.
Like, again, it's not like a deal breaker or anything like that, but it's something to consider, because when you're being creative and you come home and you don't feel enthused about being creative anymore because you've been 5-6 hours on someone else's project. If it's a project that you don't like, that is. But I think that's the case with anything. It's building it up, getting the clients, and then you kind of pick and choose which one you want to take on anyway. It's not going to be perfect from the get-go.
the better your branding is, and the clearer you are of what you really want to do, the more you're going to be able to find your ideal clients. But I think with your style of work, but you do have the opportunity to go out there and say, hey, like this would make a big difference. I think I could see this with your brand. Like, where do you start? Like, that's a lot of, you see people doing it with their email stuff, or they say, look, I'll write 3 emails. I see you're not really using your emails at the moment. I'll write you 3 emails and you tell me what you think. Like, or I'll make you reels for a week. And then a lot of guys are doing that to sort of try and get started with finding work. I think there's possibilities to send that to your ideal client. Lane's asking you, who would that ideal client be? Like, who do you want to work with?
I mean, again, this is my issue. In terms of the animation skill set, it'd be cool to work with like a top studio, maybe as a junior animator. But then if I'm going to take on more graphic design work, a project like, I don't know, maybe like a Marvel film, producing a lot of the assets for that. The issue, this is a very good question, and I think this is, again, underpins everything I'm looking at right now. Is I need to be able to focus on a certain area within my skill set. It's all well and good saying I want to work with these guys, I want to work with Disney, not that I said Marvel, whatever. But what would I bring to each of these clients? Like, if I work for AWS, and I'm not going to be doing these crazy movie posters, I'm going to be doing the paid advertising, not the organic branding, whatever like that. And so everything that you're telling me, distilling the offering down into something that I can go ahead and have a cohesive message going forward with, rather than just being, I can do loads of little bits here and there. I've got to be more direct in what I want to sell to people and what I can offer to people. And that is the thing that I'm struggling with. That what is the bit I want to focus on, and defining that in my head. Because I'm passionate about certain sides of it more than I am about the advertising stuff it's less fun for me. The animation stuff is more fun, but it's harder to leverage and harder to be like, you're gonna need this animation. And I'm also not at the level that with animation too. Sorry, that was a bit of a rambling answer. Sorry, guys.
No, it's good. Yeah, I don't know if you want to jump in there, Lane, with anything, or I think it's probably, is it really early there in the States?
It's not too early. It's like 7 a.m.
Yeah. What are your thoughts listening so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely hard to kind of narrow down what exactly you want to do and how you want to offer it. And like you said, it can be draining when you're doing a lot of projects that you don't have passion for or you don't care about. It would be like doing a workout program that you don't think is going to give you results. It's like you can do it for a little while, but only for so long. Yeah. So you spoke about kind of these like big brands that you hope to work for. Is there a certain type of client or type of project that you've worked on in the past that has been that you've enjoyed the most?
I worked on it's actually a smaller project, but I worked with some guys. They're called the Remade. They're like a shoe customizer company, and they came to me, approached me to design the sneaker, and that at the time that was kind of cool, and they were cool guys. I think some of it matters with the guys, the team that you're working to. I haven't had enough experience working with the biggest guys yet, because I know it can be very stressful working with the top guys. You're under a lot of time constraints too, and this is essentially, like I said, I could keep reiterating where I'm at, like finding what exactly is the client, the people I want to work for, and what can I bring to them that's gonna that's gonna give them value. What's my value proposition for those people? Like why work with me over other people, or what can I offer that's a bit different to other people? And I think realistically, I need to start off with smaller businesses because I can build up a portfolio and build up a more accurate portfolio that represents the offering that I can offer people. Does that make sense? Because at the moment, did you manage to take a look at my portfolio, Lane?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, like it's, as you can probably see, there's a lot of different skill sets on there. And so if I was to show that to a specific company, say, oh, I can do all this, that's great, but where does it actually help them?
Yeah, that fits in more of like an agency versus
Yeah,
like something
100%.
specific. And so if you don't want to do advertising, then just like get rid of all the advertisements in your portfolio.
Okay. Yeah.
Have you made some progress with this, Lane? We had a big discussion when I was in Bali five months ago or so about where you're looking to get some other experiences and get some work outside of your agency role. Has anything changed there for you? Have you had any new experiences?
Yeah, several. So I've been working with a few Uncom members just for free, kind of like what y'all talked about earlier, of just offering for free and building out from there, doing their branding. Something else you like talked about earlier, and something that I've found can be difficult with working with kind of startups and entrepreneurs is like a lot of times they don't see the value in a graphic designer or like graphic design work, which makes a lot of sense because capital is low and they don't have a lot of experience with those things. So it takes a lot of showing, like, I know it's valuable and I believe that, but having to convince them and show them that it is, which is a lot easier if you're doing it for free. So that's always good advice. But yeah, I've been doing that with a few members of Uncom, working on their branding and brand strategy. And a lot of that is, like you said earlier, AJ, sometimes someone will come to you and they say, like, I want a logo, or I want this, but you kind of have to dive a little deeper and figure out what do they really need, because they might want a logo and it's they want it to be, them doing a Nordic curl and like a lightning bolt in the background, and it has to be blue, but maybe their target audience is, one of the guys I'm working with, his target audience is high achieving, like these like executive women kind of in their like mid-lifers. And so we've kind of totally transformed his brand to something completely different than what it was to target them, and not not him, because he's not the target audience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but to answer your question, Keegan, yeah, I've been working with 5 people at the moment, and it's been going well, and I'm at a point where I'm ready to kind of wrap up that work and try to package something up that that people can use, it's like a one-time thing that I can make and people can purchase and use without me.
Have you found you've been able to kind of narrow down what that offering is as well? Like working with these 5 separate people, how much value has it given to you to kind of clarify what you think you can offer specifically to these people?
Yeah, it's helped a lot. There's still something to figure out. I've been experimenting with the last like 2 people with, instead of me having calls with them, and which takes several like hour-long conversations, sending questions to them to answer on their own and then connecting afterwards.
Okay.
But I've found recently that more work needs to be done to explain deeper why those questions are being asked and like what they really mean.
Mm-hmm. So you think like sometimes the clients, they have Do you think that's from they have like a superficial knowledge of that design industry or the creative industry, rather than because they don't know certain just certain processes and how long certain things can take or whatever? Do you think that's where that comes from?
Yeah, I mean, that definitely is part of it. And that definitely needs explaining too. Like, um, okay. Oh, we have a question.
Hey, so I'm actually one of the guys that Lane's working with, and a big point of value for me, not being super creative or even having much knowledge of brand or brand identity or anything like that, is just working with him. He's been able to help me iron out my vision from like a different angle, which is not necessarily the actual logo or anything like that, but it's that the questions that he asked me to get to those ideas was super beneficial for me as a non-creative person. And again, as he mentioned before, my entire brand was, I never knew that it should, it seems logical now, but at the time I designed it very quickly. I wanted to just get something that I could put out, and I did it essentially designing it for myself. Whereas, like he mentioned, that represents you, not really your client. So there's lots of these like aha moments just working with a creative person and seeing your business from that angle, which is really powerful.
Interesting.
That's also one of the key things in the content from Paul. If you get into the me centricity of marketing, that's something we all tend to do, is market to ourselves. Now, for me, with Uncommon Success, like the product actually does suit me, and I'm pretty close to the avatar for the product, so it's not the worst thing. But if you're targeting someone very different to you, then yeah, it's going to be a big problem if you market like you would be marketing to yourself. So I also saw that you recently bested you got on the leaderboards with the bench with the 120 10D1. What's your ever bench?
This year 140 I've hit. I'm meant to be doing 142.5 today. That's meant to be the aim today. But yeah.
Good. See it. Yeah. How many did you get on the last set after the 120 looked very comfortable for you?
Yeah. The 120 was pretty good. Like I said, last week was a deload week, so I just kind of tested out. I haven't really done too much with the dense training. But I was spoken to Georgios and a couple of the other guys, and like having another parameter that you can change and kind of track your progress against the time is actually a really useful tool. So I've actually been implementing a lot more. But after I think I did 10, and then I did another set. I did another 5 reps to smash that out.
Yeah. So what you get on the last set can kind of give you a judge of how much in reserve you've got. I did as well 10D1 at 120, but I don't think I would have even made a double at the end of it. Like it's pretty much at the end for me. I've not a 1RM for a while, but it's probably 125, 127, 130, something around there. But yeah, so if you hit, if all your dense numbers are going up, then the ones are also going to go up. So if like Nico just hit the 10D10 at 45 kilos on the dips, so 45 kilo weighted dips for 10D10, and he said himself that the first time he did it, because we did it here, then I think like he did it there with Fabian and whatnot, but first time he did it at body weight, it was tough, and then he's been working it up, and he's planned on one like 50 for 10D10 dips. Just seems like
that's serious.
How in the hell, how would anyone do that? But yeah, like it's good because it's like a system that's designed to sort of keep you fresh, and you don't grind reps, and you make a lot of progress without necessarily getting too sore, too much fatigue. And Nico's the heaviest and leanest that he's been as well doing that. So it's like good for body composition side of things too. You could, like, as far as where does that fit in with the rest of this conversation? Like, it's personal branding, man. Like if you're someone who people look up to and respect, and there's other things going on in your life that are good, that's personal branding, So building your own personal brand and playing around with the art for yourself, like if it works, then use it. Same with you, Lane. Like if it works, then use it. Make your own stuff look really sharp, that other people feel like, okay, yeah, I want my stuff to look like his.
Yeah.
Play around that with stories as well. Friend Mitch Pike, he was one of the first people I worked with in Real Movement. He really loves doing artistic type stuff and avatars and whatnot. He uses a lot of graphics within his reels and stories. And it can be a really powerful part of your brand. Like we worked together for a while in 2020, and we're using a lot of his kind of brand images as the background for stories, and it can really be powerful. And I think he could make a business, and you could make a business out of like stylizing the background that you write on for stories, and find some good examples of it. But there's one of the men in Uncom is really taken off with his personal branding. And he's using beautiful images and just with voiceovers. I'll send you his account after this as well. But yeah, that it really can make a difference if you can create that visual effect. So yes, things like that could be relatively simple to have, like a custom sort of background. You just save the image, and then you pull up that image and then write your text over it fresh. And yeah, it can make your stories look more professional or engaging. Some people like to write. That's a big part of their branding, is to write longer stuff on their stories. And the people who read it, you only need 20 people to really love your stuff to fairly well. There's another one, the guy who didn't settle. He writes really long stuff on his stories. You could think about, like, he was in Real Movement as well. I just caught up with him when I was in Bali. He could be someone that you could pitch to, of like, what if you make it look better? Because often his stuff doesn't look that good, but his business is doing well enough. It's from Ireland, online personal trainer. So yeah, but if your own training, like treat your own training like a business card, because especially if you want to work like with people like in Uncommon Success, if you would like to work with some brands along those lines, or fitness industry brands and things, then the cooler your own branding is, like the easier it's going to be to show others. And you don't have to have the biggest account, but yeah, if you can show, okay, yeah, this stuff is cool, then you can. It's like a starting point, and if you got a stronger starting point, then you can continue the conversation about other work, other aspects of the brand with their websites and app or whatever.
Yeah, and it's that might be a good way to start as well. I mean, I've said to myself, I should probably people keep saying about personal branding because of the intersection of my skill set. Probably be a good place to start. And I'm obviously really interested in like nutrition and the health and fitness and whatnot. And actually being able to package it all up as an offering, and then kind of start that for myself and understanding how it's all going to work, and then roll it out to other people saying, oh, this is what I've done, this is how I can help you guys, is actually a pretty sensible route to kind of take it.
Yeah, if you're talking about sort of being an online trainer or selling yourself as that kind of brand, or
yeah, but potentially that as well. I just struggle with that sometimes because of how inundated, how saturated that market seems to feel to me.
Yeah, I'd say it's one of the hardest industries to do well in. But if you're really good, then yeah, the same as any industry, there's not that many people who do things really well. So it depends. There's always plenty of space at the top. It's a good line that stuck with me. It's true. Like, there's so many guys do exercise science and sports science, right? And they want to work with rugby teams, professional athletes, soccer, whatnot. And they feel as though, like, really competitive. But when you're on the other side of that and you're looking to hire an intern or an assistant, or, I know clubs like looking to hire a head of performance, it's fucking hard. Like, there's not that many at the top. Like, there's not that many really high level operators, walk the walk, proven results. People want to be around them. Like, it's really not that easy to find that person. And so it's the same. Like, if I was looking for someone to do graphics and stuff for me, like, it's difficult to find someone who's actually going to give a shit about your brand and he's going to do what they said they were going to do. Like the concern from the business owner perspective is like, is he even going to care? Is he going to be invested? Is he just going to take the money, give me some shitty work and not iterate, not want to actually do something that makes a difference. And yeah, trying to prove statistically that it's about increasing sales, or because it does happen that companies just come up with a logo, like a Fiverr logo or a JPEG, random thing, and then they become a $100 million company and they just leave the logo, and it's kind of a joke that they just show that it didn't really matter for that brand. Now there'd be plenty of other ones that are the opposite of that make something really nice, and it does get the message across visually well, and they grow. But yeah, like stylizing, even it doesn't have to be that you're going to have a health fitness product, but stylizing your own content and just making things look cool, treating your own stuff with that respect. I don't think you're going to lose with that. And then you get more of a feel for it as well from that small business perspective. Like, and you can see for yourself like what people react to. If people are reacting to your stories, like, yeah, that one was really sharp, like that message hit me, then you can go, okay, yeah, these images get 10 times the story reaction that my stuff usually gets. Yeah. I can do your brand, will make this kind of image, and then you'll have a link on there and you'll get more clicks on that link. And most of my business is clicks on links and stories, like that's and re-engagement, as well as DMing followers. Like, it's not cold DMs. I think cold DMs is really tough, but messaging people who actually follow you and who following the journey, like that's really an easy way to build a business. If no one wants to follow you, then it shows like there's no personal brand. Like, there's nothing interesting about what you're putting out. But yeah, hopefully there's some useful stuff there, man. Like, I enjoyed the conversation, and yeah, if you want to play around with an example of a badge, and we iterate on something around that, like that would be a starting point maybe for something we could do with the other things. Yeah, looking into that generative art around an avatar style of image, and playing around with things with that, I think would also be another cool thing to look at.
Definitely. Yeah, and I'm definitely like I said, I got some time to kind of play around with the sort of stuff, and we definitely get stuck into that and have a little play around.
Get your 142 today, and keep leveling up.
For sure, man, for sure. Gotta keep up the momentum now.
Yeah, if you put it all in the same thing in your brain of like this is how I prove to people how consistent and disciplined I am, like it makes you more employable, at least for some people. Maybe for someone like myself, for some kinds of businesses, it's definitely the training thing adds to your personal brand, adds to your reliability, the interest to work together.
And let's get it done.
Very cool. All right, thanks for jumping in. Great to have a conversation, and let's keep working on it. Thanks to everyone who joined the call live, and we'll connect again soon. Good to see you, Jan, Lane.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Yes.
Bye.